Yeah, okay.
They were standing in the barn.
I don't ask. I don't ask when I.
Right, correct.
How you doing, Bill? What's happening in the world? Anything good? How bad? Slow down.
Yes.
Mark. Yeah, we're gonna transfer the next one. Ours. Ours, right. Oh, this part, put it on my phone. All right, everyone, standing by. Call this meeting to order. I'll rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You. Oh.
Matt O'Gara,
Here.
Jamie Melky,
Here.
John Leo,
Here.
Nancy Roundell,
Here.
and John Cops. Here. You have report.
Public comment time. There's something on the agenda you'd like to speak to us about? An opportunity?
Something not on the agenda.
Not on there. I've not seen that. Good. No comments? Anyone on the computer tonight? No hands up. Guess we're on to the consent agenda. Any discussion?
One small change, I sent council with the parks bylaws when we changed the number from 5 to 7. Nancy pointed out in the review of it that we forgot to change the quorum from 3 to 4, so we just made an edit that per quorum requires 4 on those, so.
Good catch.
And also in the minutes, Nancy had pointed out some errors that I had made on that earlier in the day. One was just a typo. I needed a space between 2 words, and then the other one was I left all the dates from last time for the next upcoming meetings where meetings that have already passed. So I've changed the minutes on record, and those are the ones that'll get filed.
Good. Any other problems with the consent agenda? I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda. A second.
Jamie Melky,
Yes.
Nancy Rondell,
Yes.
Matt O'Gara,
Yes.
John Cubs.
Yes.
John Leo.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on to discussion items. So 3A, this is for the tree removal project on M119. Just as a recap here. We are removing trees on the north side of M119 between Park Street and Hoyt Street. So in front of Bay Bluffs and in front of the skate park. Due to these tall plum trees, the potential for them to knock out our primary power line in the town. So also to damage infrastructure. We've already have large branches from that fall off and have near misses on our line. So that's the reason why we're doing this. We're to protect our infrastructure. At the tree board, we have been discussing potential trees to replace these existing trees, but right now we're just looking at the bids to remove those trees. We received 4 bids Two of them were pretty close. So Allen Jim's and Johansson's were $38,000 and $40,000, but Allen Jim's also had a $2,000 option to add on that to remove the stumps. So after Lucas and I looked at the bids, Allen Jim's is the lowest. If we were to ask any of the others to remove the stumps, it would be additional costs what they already have. So Allen Jim's is the lowest. As I mentioned, the tree board is looking at potential species to recommend to plant. We don't know how many yet. We're still working on that and how they're gonna be spaced and all that, but we're figuring that out. This project, we estimated it would probably cost about $50,000 when we did the capital improvements plan and when we did the budgeting. So $40,000 right now for approximately for removal, then that leaves us about $10,000 for planting. And we also plan on fundraising for trees and ask people to donate trees as well if we need to exceed that limit. So we're on target as far as costs. And the project, I think, as Lucas had told me, wants it done by March 31st. So we would, or by April 1st, this would be an early spring, late winter project. And my M119 for that section, there'd have to be a detour, it'd have to be closed down for a little bit because they're gonna follow the trees toward the M119. So it won't be a long detour, but be temporary.
So is the plan not to take out the stumps, to just leave them?
No, so our recommendation is to go with the stumps, which would be at
Just
40,000. Yep,
So it's at 40.
that's at 40. Yeah.
We don't really.
We talked about it before it even happened, so. It's good.
So I'll make a motion to approve the tree removal.
If there's any other public comment.
During the public comment. So,
Yep, I just wonder, Victor, if we can clarify by removing the stems, you mean like pull them out with a backhoe. Just for planting new trees, that's gonna be a lot more efficient without all those lateral roots in there.
I'm not sure exactly how they're going to take out the stumps.
grinding.
Probably. Yeah, so
I guess we just have to be prepared when we're planting that there'll be some removal of what's left. And then we had just touched briefly on way down the road, there's the thought of burying that line. We might have, different recommendations. We talked about this, the trees. If it was buried, and would we want to do something short-term just to get trees in? It would be much smaller scale because of the overhead wires. Or would we be thinking more towards, yes, the lines may be buried in say 5 or 10 years?
I don't know. So we don't have a plan to bury those lines right now. There's no need to. So there's a potential to bury the lines. It'll be expensive, but it's not on our plan. It's not on our 10-year forecast, but there's always an option to look at that. So it's a good question.
Kathy Macho, Sergeant Street. I'm just curious, is that state highway there, right?
Yep.
So the buried lines is still the city's responsibility, not the state's?
Yep.
Okay, I misunderstood that. Thanks.
Comments? Good.
Motion, and I believe, John, you seconded it. John Leo,
Yes.
John Cobbins, Matt O'Gara,
Yes.
Nancy Rondell.
Yeah.
Jamie Mulkey. Motion carried.
Okay, moving on to item 3B, our conceptual harbor master building renovation plans. So the Harbor Commission, I know the history, I'm not going to get too much into history, but they've been looking at a new building to replace the existing harbor master building since probably 2013, 2014. It's been several years. A lot of things happened in between. So we ended up to the point we're at now where we'll do a remodel of the existing building. And the idea with the remodel is to change the existing public bathrooms, which are on the north side of the building, into a boater's laundry facility as well as a mechanical room. And I'll put up the map here, the plans here, and then add public bathrooms face on the west side of the building, facing Marina Park. So you can see that right here. The idea is, the benefit is, of course, we add laundry for the boaters. That was a concern. That was one of the driving factors of actually doing a new building was there's no laundry facilities in town, no laundromat, and no laundry facilities inside the building would be a benefit for the boaters. But the benefit to having the bathrooms on the west side of the building is that right now there's a lot of congestions with pedestrians crossing through the parking lot and where cars are driving to access the bathroom. So they're cutting through the parking lot. Right now, they would be essentially following the sidewalk or following the parking way to the bathroom. So it kind of fixes that situation as well. So these are rough plans that we had Next Terrain, who is working on the original new building design for several years. The Harbor Commission, we reached out to Next Terrain to just do a rough sketch of a layout for the remodel. And as I mentioned, laundry room, mechanical room to replace existing public bathrooms, and then the public bathrooms would be an extension or an addition off the west side where we currently have the dumpster pad and some other things there. And we'd have a smaller dumpster located to the north, to the south, to the north of the bathrooms. So Harbor Commission liked the concept, but of course, this is just a conceptual, and the goal now is to see if this is okay with council to get more professional plans, engineered and architectural plans to present to the Harbor Commission and the council for review and approval. As I mentioned in the memo, we're not sure, we don't think that this will affect any parking space or park space, but there's potential. These aren't exact measurements depending on dumpster size. Sorry, the exact measurements from here to the parking in relation to the parking spot. These are exact, but not in relation to the parking spot. So we don't have a site plan yet. We don't have any of that. So we won't know if we might need to lose a parking space or readjust a building based on any of that. I don't think so, but we're not sure yet. So that would all come into play when we get engineered plans and a site plan and architectural plans that are professionally done. So this is basically just conceptual, and I suspect that if we get this going, we probably would be looking at a renovation by the end of next year, end of 2024. I think we could probably get some plans to review summertime, fall time to Harbor Commission and Council. This is all money. Well, I didn't say it, but this is all money that's coming from the waterfront fund. So it's not general fund taxpayers. It's all revenues that we earn from the voters. So that's where we're at.
Need anything from us?
Well, what we need is, or if there's any discussion, public comment, or from the council, and then basically either motion or consensus to say, yeah, let's go forward with getting more professional designs or engineered designs, or you guys want to make any additions or changes to the plan before we move it on.
And the Harbor Commission would like to move forward.
Yes, yeah, they by consensus, they wanted it.
Everything we've been talking about for the past year or two, so be nice to get it done finally. I'd make a motion to proceed forward. Mr. Wade.
With regard to just the marina building, over the years, we've been in about 40 different marinas and so on. If you could put a dishwashing area in the laundry or someplace, that's probably been at least put away. We put a very handy item. And secondly, if the Parks Commission is ever thinking about developing the marina area for the winter for ice skating or something like that, you may think about wanting to have that a full, year-round building that could accommodate ice skaters and things such as that.
Which reminds me is one of the benefits of actually doing this way is having the public bathrooms on this side. Is one of the thoughts that the parks, well, at least the Marina Park Committee before we had a Parks Board was thinking about was potential building for bathrooms, public bathrooms on the green space, and this would eliminate that need for another building.
Yeah, that was the idea behind it.
Yeah.
Is that building's not winterized, is it?
The bathrooms are open all year long, so, and I think it is.
Sort of winterized.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
Got a motion by Cups to proceed forward. I don't have a second.
Second.
John Cups,
Yes.
Nancy Rondell,
Yes.
Matt O'Gara,
Yes.
John Leo.
Yes.
Jamie Melfi.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thanks. Moving on to 3C, Ford Park launch ramp permits. Harbor Commission talked about this at a couple meetings. Council reviewed this once about a couple months ago. And they kicked it back to the Harbor Commission for more clarification on some points. And the idea behind this was that everyone launching at Ford Park should have a permit. That led to discussions of what it would mean by everyone. Do we mean every boat? Do we mean every trailer? And what's the purpose of doing this? So the Harbor Commission had two quite lengthy discussions about this. And what they agreed to eventually at the last Harbor Commission meeting, which was a special meeting in December, was that the existing daily launch permit system would stay the same. There'd be no changes for those who are seeking a daily launch permit. But each seasonal permit holder would be required to obtain a permit or a sticker that would go on their trailer for the trailers that they use. So if they use a trailer to launch a boat, it wouldn't be the boat that gets a sticker, it would be the trailer. So we'd have someone at Ford Park, like we normally have at Ford Park, that would, see if there's someone launching. If there's no sticker on their trailer, they would approach them and say, we need a sticker, you need a permit. Of course, Ford Park's not monitored 24/7 and it's part-time staff there. So a lot of this is also based on the honor system. And so part of that is, and the staff will notify commercial license applicants about the policy. So license holders, we have about 4 normally commercial applicants who may or may not partake in launching boats for other customers. So it'd be on staff would reach out to those and explain what the process is and what we expect out of that based on the discussion we had at Harbor Commission and whatever comes out of this council meeting. So it's the idea, there was a few different reasons, I think, for bringing this up. One idea was to make it more fair, whatever more fair meant, that everyone should be have a permit to launch. And there's a lot of discussion. I know Michael Esposito was at some of the Harbor Commission meetings, so about, is there other ways to look at this? Should we look at the commercial permits, doing something different with those? But the Harbor Commission stuck with the plan you see in front of you. So JB couldn't be here as a chair, but he said that we need to relook at it. We can, but I don't know if we need to.
Discuss that one into the ground at the December meeting. Like, it's a pretty good plan. Best we can do until we get someone stationed down there full time. Checking permits.
Yeah. There were other ideas too at the Harbor Commission, I know from the members and from the office, like whether there should be a gate or whether there should be a different permit system for commercial businesses and et cetera, and whether the stickers go on the boat. So there was a lengthy discussion. I don't know if there's right now no perfect solution. Well, there may be a perfect, but this is not viewed as a perfect solution, but it's viewed as better than what was there before. That's in the Harbor Commission's viewpoint. Council should open it up to the public first, and you did have a public comment, at least one from Bill Brown in the packet about this, and I'm sure others want to talk about it as well.
Public comment?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Michael Esposito from Irish Boat Shop. So I have been at most of the Harbor Commission meetings probably for the last 20 years. And from my perspective, this came up somewhere in the 2020 when we had additional uses at Ford Park. Wallstrom Dock and Dredge were buried, the pandemic. So Ford Park has a tremendous amount of pressure on it. We all know that. And out of all of these discussions, I still don't understand what problem we're trying to solve. But my point on this one is that I don't disagree with what the Harbor Commission is recommending. But I would like to say that it doesn't solve any problems. So it'll generate some more income for the city, which is great. Maybe that helps pay for staff. But there's no less boats being launched. There's no less confusion. It's not any safer. We haven't stated what the problem is, so we haven't come up with a solution to solve it. However, there is a problem.
Is there a problem?
My 3 minutes aren't up, so I'll stay on the soapbox. There is a problem. Ford Park, I don't remember when it was designed, but it was before my time. So I'm gonna say 70s or 80s when it was built. And it was probably designed for the uses at the time, which is launching and hauling boats, probably smaller boats, smaller trucks. Anyway, at the end of the day, the uses have changed tremendously just in the 30 years I've been here. There's paddleboards, there's kayaks, there's a ferry boat, there's Wallstroms, there's us. There's a lot of pressure on Ford Park. It's a small space. So the solution is Ford Park needs to be looked at by the city, by the users, by someone professional, and probably determine what uses the city wants there, and then design the site to accommodate them. Ford Park is exceptionally dangerous. Someone is going to get hurt, if not worse there. It's a collusion of people, cars, trailers, boats, dogs, paddleboards. There's no organization whatsoever. So I think the solution is to look at the whole site, which is a huge asset for the city. It's very popular, it's heavily used, and make it right. Thank you.
That is a good point, which is something that we've kind of talked about, whether or not we need to look at, well, not exactly in that scope, but the circulation and the parking was one, but Michael here is talking about even more than that, about the use and stuff, but that is something that is on our radar, is Ford Park. So I don't know when we're gonna tackle that, but
We talked about it briefly during the budget cycle. There were what, $40,000 or $50,000 earmarked for windows for the building. We put the kibosh on it because we don't know what we're doing with the park. And what we should ultimately do is look at it, just like Michael described. What do we want it to be? Redesign it and then invest money in whatever it is that design should be. I agree.
Any other comment? Oh, good. Any comment from us? Happy with the fee?
Yeah, I agree. It's a Band-Aid to a great extent. I do. I do think it's a little more fair with the way that you all, the Harbor Commission have passed this out. So I think we can do this. If nothing else, it'll maybe raise a little more revenue to save for when we do Ford Park. A bigger redo, which I definitely agree needs to happen. There's a lot of issues down there. Lots and lots of issues in Ford Park. And this certainly isn't going to fix them, but it does hopefully bring in some more income. And maybe we can earmark it for that too, which would be great.
I would make a motion to, you need a motion to approve, right?
Yeah.
So I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Edward Guerra,
Yes.
John Cops.
Yes.
John Leo,
Yes.
Nancy Roundell.
Yeah.
Jamie Melky.
Yes.
Motion carried.
before we go into item D, I'll just do a really quick overview of the manager's report. There's usually never a lot of activity after the budget is approved in December 19th through the holidays, so there wasn't a whole lot going on, but we are the next month or so enabling Text My Gov, which is a way to, that's a number, a local number that you can text that will give you either automated responses from the city. So, you know, if you're looking at the website, like I can't find this, and you can, text a number, or if you want to know when the bathrooms are open or where there's parking. Or it's a way for us also to push notifications on people. If they sign up, we can say, hey, the roads are going to be closed, or X, Y, and Z, there's an event going on, or there's an important meeting that we want to put out. So, it'll be another tool just to communicate with the public and give them more options to understand what's going on. And it also could, maybe some of those automated questions that we get a lot, like where on a website can I pay my utility bill? Maybe, it'll deflect some of that from calling, taking up time of staff and go on the website. They can use the Text My Gov. So that'll be coming up. We'll let you know about that. Boardwalk replacement project, it's out to bid. So I don't know if we've got any bids yet because they're going to benchmark, but we should be reviewing those February 6th if we do get bids back, so. We're on our way.
What's the due date for this? When do they have to do?
25th or the 29th, that week, the last week of January. And we are still taking the noise survey, we're still seeking responses for that. We have about 300 responses already, so the community has given a lot of response and thought into it, so. Noise committee will review that at their next meeting, which is the first February 7th. January 5th, there was a special planning commission meeting to just review some of the proposed updates to the zoning code. And as a reminder, we are going through the zoning code section by section. And we'll eventually come to council when some of those sections get conceptually approved by the planning commission to get some conceptual approval from council, but we won't actually come to the council for a full approval of new updated zoning code until we have it as an entire package. The zoning board had an organizational meeting January 11th, and then I just had a couple meetings. One was an MPPA meeting and then a CCE 911 meeting. But things are picking back up again now that the holiday season is over, and we'll have more meetings. So if there's any questions about any other things going on in the city.
No, just a little update. I reached out to Maggie Lacey at the Boardwalk Preservation Group and tried to get an answer out of her about how much money they've collected, and she has no idea. And you know, I've stressed to her that we have the matching grant. We're getting near our goal of funding it, and she basically told me if she wasn't going to give the money to the city, we would have to submit invoices from the contractors and they would pay them directly out of their funds. So,
Just an FYI on that little side note, that's not possible.
Yeah.
Any contract that the city gets into will be with the city, and the city will be required to pay them. I mean, that's what the auditors look for. If we paid an invoice to whoever it may be, a pay application, the city would pay the funds, and then if I think that we could take a copy of that pay application and the check stub saying we paid this, and maybe go that route. I think there's a way we could figure this out, but
right,
that particular path is not going to work.
right. He was supposed to get back to me.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
talk about it some more, but I.
Yeah, figure it out.
So anyways, I guess that's where we're at with that. I would share that with you all. Is any other new or old business before we go into closed session? Yeah.
All right, so next, this is up to you. This is for closed session.
Yeah, I guess that I'm supposed to ask to go into closed session. I mean, this is how we've always done reviews, so I feel it's appropriate to continue to do it this way. But I don't know the language.
We would need a council person to make a motion to meet in closed session to consider a periodic personnel evaluation of the city clerk treasurer as a result of Nick requesting a closed hearing. So we would need someone to make that motion for it to be adopted by the council.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Nancy Rondell.
Yes.
Jamie Melky.
Yes.
John Cubs. Matt McGarrett.
Yes.
John Leo.
Yes.
Closed session at 7:28. I'm not here in the morning, folks. You'll know this.
I'm going to.